It's time for the Brouhaha Sports Show. Brouhaha Sports with award-winning sports writer Dale McKee and co-host Marshall Wood. Talking sports with the legends of the game and famous sports personalities. Brouhaha. Now to Marshall and Dale with tonight's guest.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Brouhaha. Marshall and Dale here. How we doing there, Dale?
Hey, we're doing pretty good. We still got a lot of weather issues around the country, and we've got another storm coming in, so need to be thinking and praying for all those folks in its way.
You know, that looks like it's going to be a mighty strong one hitting down there, about in the same place the last one came in. I hope this one doesn't turn and go up through the Appalachians again like that one did. I don't guess we ever know.
Oh, yeah, it was, storms are very peculiar
Yes, they are.
in what they do.
Yeah. Dale, let's get kicked off this morning. A lot of sports activity going around here. I see in your sideline view there's a lot of stuff happening. You want to kind of get us up to speed on some of that stuff? Let's see, I'm seeing about a lot of stuff going on at the Sanderson Farms Championship. Somebody made a lot of money up there.
Yeah, last name's you. And it's not you.
No, it's not you or me.
Why you? Yeah. He won a Sanderson Farms playoff. They had to go to playoff. He had to make a putt on the 18th hole to force the playoff, and he made it. And so he ended up winning the playoff on, I believe it was his first hole, and took home a paycheck of like $1.386 million. And I tell you what, I could use it tomorrow.
Hey, I could use it right now. But anyway, that's mighty good for a week's work, buddy, I guarantee you. Let me ask you something. Is the name of this golf tournament, is it changing or has it changed? This Sanderson?
Well, it's still the Sanderson Farm Championship. And all I know is right now is that Wayne Sanderson, as they're called now,
okay,
based out of Laurel, will be sponsoring the tournament for 2 more years through the contract.
Yeah.
And after that, there may be a new sponsor.
Yeah.
Now, this started off back in 1968 in Hattiesburg, and they called it the old Magnolia Classic.
I remember that. Yeah.
Okay.
Was that at the Hattiesburg Country Club?
They used to have that. Yeah, they used to have that at the Hattiesburg Country Club. And so, after several years, they felt like they could maybe get a little bit more support if they made it a statewide event. So they kind of moved it to Jackson, and it's kind of taken off since then.
Yeah.
And, of course, when Sanderson Farms got their name assigned to it about a dozen years ago, it really took off.
Yeah.
So, and they've donated, I read somewhere where since 1993, I think it was 1993, this tournament has donated over $20 million to charities in Mississippi.
Wow.
So
that's a big
deal. That is, that is huge, and it's like 70 charities every year are giving something for from this golf tournament.
Well, we salute those folks in there.
Magnificent.
Yeah, for all they've done for the state of Mississippi.
Mr. Joe Frank Sanderson, he deserves a big hand for how he's done that and helped the hospital, the Children's Hospital in Jackson. Those folks really were community supporters, and really I hate, in a way that we don't have just the Sanderson Farms anyway, but I know things change in the business world daily.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Looking a little bit further along the line, we don't want to get into football too much. We're going to discuss that probably a little more in the final segment. We'll talk about the Rebels got back on the winning track this past week. How about old J.J. Pegues? I'm telling you what, they're going to have to make a fullback out of him yet.
Well, I saw him in the state championship game against Oak Grove several years ago down in Hattiesburg. I guess it was about 4 or 5 years ago. And, I mean, he put on a show at tight end.
Yeah.
And, he's playing defensive tackle, but he also played tight end and I tell you what, he was running past and through those Oak Grove defensive backs. I promise you that night, like all 300 pounds of him.
Man, he's a freak athlete. He really is. I see where my Golden Eagles continue to struggle. Bless their hearts, man. They got a tough road to hoe.
Oh yeah. They had a terrible offensive night. Really, they did. They only had like 37 yards rushing and a little over 144 yards passing. And of course, Louisiana Lafayette, as they used to be called, they Raging Cajuns. They just kept the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't give it away. Football's. I still say it. I wish my high school coaches would listen to me. Sometime all over the state of Mississippi.
Yeah.
It's called keep away.
Run the ball and play defense.
Keep away. We don't keep this ball. You get it only sometime.
We see where Mississippi State was off last week, but they get to be rewarded from that by getting to go to Georgia. Let's see, isn't that who they got this week? Mississippi.
They do, yeah. Georgia took care of Auburn Tigers this past weekend.
Yeah.
So anyway,
who you got for our guest tonight?
Well, we got a former Major League Baseball player. He played for most of his career for the Washington Nationals. Yeah. His name's Tyler Moore. He came up with Bryce Harper, who is probably one of the stars of the Major League Baseball these days. He played with a lot of the. Bryce came up with the Nationals too back in the day, and the Nationals went to the playoffs when Tyler was there, and right after Tyler left, they played and won the World Series. So, so
missed it by that.
Tyler knows a lot of those players from that time, and he's going to talk about his journey from high school up to the pro ranks.
All righty. Well, let's take a break and hear from tonight's guest, Dale. Dale and I are going to hear from one of our sponsors, and we'll be back with tonight's guest right after this commercial break.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome to the show, Tyler Moore. Tyler, how's everything in your area? Are you still living in the Brandon area?
Hey guys, yeah, I'm actually close to Brandon. I'm probably about 25 miles in the Madison area now. We've lived here for probably 15 years or so. It's been a great spot, and we're close to where we grew up, essentially.
Okay, well, let's just take us through your baseball experience, from your first baseball experience all the way to the major leagues. Just tell us your road map.
I got involved in baseball probably from a very early age, 3-4 years old. I just watching my dad. He played softball a lot, so the weekends were, consistent with baseball and throwing the ball and watching Dad play and that. So I think that's where I kind of got my first love for it, and then it just kind of escalated from there. Just stayed consistent and really enjoyed the buddy ball and the we went to the World Series one time when I was 12. We won that, and just having those fun memories were always, just something that I'll never forget. And then obviously got high school, Northwest Rankin, was able to win a state championship there my senior year, Meridian Community College, and then finally Mississippi State in the collegiate area, but then got drafted. So, 10 years of professional baseball was a dream and a blessing, and just very fortunate looking back, as I'm older now, that I was able to play in the big leagues and have a good, fun journey like that and meet a lot of cool people.
Well, listen, I was probably one of the few, because I was close to your dad. As far as that, I was kind of on the journey too. I remember your first major league game in L.A., and they had you out in the outfield, and I remember your dad told me, I don't think he's ever played outfield. I said, well, he's going to learn today.
He's going to figure it out some way or another.
Yeah. I remember there was a big party over at Buffalo Wings in Laurel there for you. Well, listen, tell us about, now you were a two sport or three sport in high school. How many sports did you play?
I played two. I was football and baseball.
What did
majority.
Did you have any offers in
Do what
football?
now?
Did you have any offers in football?
I had a few smaller ones that were interested my senior year, and then ended up having a pretty good year my senior year in baseball. So to be honest with you, I didn't know if I was going to go play college baseball or college football my junior year. Going into my senior year, the baseball just kind of accelerated there my senior year. I was a little bit of a late bloomer there. So once the baseball season was how it went was, it was a telltale sign that baseball may be the future instead of football. And I just wasn't fast enough to play quarterback in the next level, probably with football anyways.
Well, how did football help you with baseball, or vice versa?
Football always, I love when kids are playing all different types of sports. It just made me more aggressive. It made me, I felt like it made me mentally tougher. It made me play through some injuries and all that kind of stuff. Everything that football brings you, it obviously made me stronger. So there's a bunch of things that, mental side, physical side that you could say that other sports bring to it, but definitely football was beneficial for me to play. It definitely made my arm stronger, throwing that big football and then coming to baseball and helping out with that. So miss those football days. Those Friday night lights were always fun.
Always the smell of the grass. Of course, you can't smell the grass anymore because they play on turf a lot of times.
That's right, it's all turf.
Yeah, but who was the biggest influence besides probably your father as far as your sports career?
Oh, goodness. I had a bunch of good coaches that, sacrificed so much for us and all the kids that played, and hopefully I'll be able to return that favor one day. But a bunch of my teammates were good. I can remember Adam LaRoche was a big one with the Nationals, being drafted with them and then going up through the big leagues. And he played first base just like I did. And really just watching him be a dad was one of the more eye-opening things to me, is how selfless he was to his family and, selfless, always serving his team. And, he was a man's man. He hunted like I did, and he was just a very good influence. He was probably 10 to 15 years older than me. I don't think 15, maybe 10, but it could also obviously play first base with the best of them and had a great swing with a lot of power. And he was a great influence for me as a young player coming up.
Well, listen, after your high school career, you went over to Meridian. Now, the strangest thing about it was you were drafted out of high school by the Washington Nationals after your first year
That's right.
at Meridian, and after your second year at Meridian. The Nationals kept drafting you, and I thought I'd read a report one time that the Nationals were thinking about making you a catcher, but I guess that never materialized.
Yeah, the Nationals stayed faithful to me for a while there. It obviously wasn't any first-round pick or anything like that, but I'm very thankful for that organization. I'll always be in debt to them. They were great. But the catching thing, I would have loved to actually do that. Looking back, catching is obviously probably the hardest position on the field. I would go ahead and say it is the hardest position. But if you're good at it, you don't have to hit as well. So, but looking back, those were fun times, kind of playing around with that. But it's all kind of going to the wayside now. But catching would have been a fun deal. But I'm glad they kind of mixed me in the outfield and first base.
Well, listen, when you finally signed and got into the minor leagues, tell some of our listeners about the journey through the minor leagues, from your smallest, with your first, I guess, your rookie league, and then all the way up to the AAA. Just explain some of that. Some of the adjustments.
You get drafted, and then you go to short season, and just got done playing Mississippi State. We played probably 45 to 50 games, and they're all spread out through the week. Well, once you hit pro ball, they shipped me to Vermont the next week after the draft. So you get a couple weeks there between seasons, and you got about 75 games in 70 days. So if you can imagine, playing 2 games a week, 3 games a week in college, maybe 4, and then playing 7 every week was a shell shock, being away from your family. But, saying that, you meet some of the best friends you'll ever have. And, you know, you go through these journeys with these people, and they're still some of my best friends today. And, you know, getting to play with guys that are just very God-given ability, talented, like me and Bryce Harper were really good friends and came up 3 levels together, and actually broke the big leagues the day before. He came in the day before, then I came in the day after in L.A. So being able to play with those guys and seeing them and just getting to see the world, not the world, but the U.S., every single city I felt like we were in, every small town, every big city in the big league. So it was just it was a blessing looking back. Wouldn't change anything for the world. It's just very fortunate to have seen all those things and play with those people.
Well, you know, the life of a major leaguer is great, but you know the minor leagues, it can sometimes make you feel like, is this really what I want to do? Because I know from your experience is that you played for the Syracuse team at the AAA team, and you'd get called up maybe for a short time, and then you have to go back. So what kind of adjustment is that for the family? I mean, you and your family.
Yeah, it was definitely an adjustment. You know, you have options before, so some guys don't have any more options. So the guys that are younger and have those options, they can option you back and forth as many times as they want to, you know, for 3 years there. So if you're kind of a fringe guy and you know, they have a guy in front of you, they're going to use those options, which I don't blame them as an organization. They're trying to win. So yeah, it's tough. I mean, some days me and my wife have some of the best minor league stories out there because you know, it was just so fun being able to get called up, and then, you know, disappointing when you get sent back down. But driving, you know, through New York and, you know, driving the car all up through the East Coast, trying to, you know, make a life for ourselves and living in hotel rooms and all that for years on years. So, like I said, it's a lot of fun memories looking back on it, and, you know, you wouldn't change anything for the world because, you know, it makes you who you are and makes you proud of where you've been.
Well, you know, I know the Nationals finally won the World Series, but those teams that you were on were pretty good teams. Didn't y'all make the playoffs? And
yeah, when I first got drafted, we were not. I don't think they were as respected as, you know, they would like to be, and they really started to change the whole mentality when we got there. From the first day on, their minor league camp was ran very organized and very disciplined and kind of, you know, hard-nosed and, you know, really cared about hard work. And those characteristics started really rubbing off because each minor league person that would come up, it would rub off in the big leagues, and then it would continue to grow. So seeing that organization go from, you know, the Expos to the Nationals, and it coming kind of full circle to us hitting our the first playoff game in 2012 there, was awesome to see. And now they won a World Series, and they're continuing to do well. This year's not as great, but they have a standard up there now, and it's been really fun to watch.
Well, you know,
and be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, you know, most major league teams are 25-man rosters during the regular season. I know there's a lot of moving and shaking, like you said, with the option thing. But how hard is it for somebody to come off the bench in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning in this day and game, and you got a pitcher out there like a Chapman that's throwing 104.5 miles an hour at you?
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it a whole lot. It's better to start the game and get feeling good, and then, you know, be in that spot later on. But you know what, you got to do what you got to do and try to make the best of what you get, you know, put in there for. So I had a bunch of fail spots, but I had a lot of spots where, you know, came through. And, you know, anytime your opportunity gets called, you just want to jump in there and do a good deal. But yeah, I faced Chapman many a times, and I don't think it ever ended up well. You know, but yeah, it's a tough spot, but at the same time, you know, it could be a really fun spot to where you get one at bat and have a hit, and score the game-winning run and be done for the night.
Yeah, well, you had a great hit in that playoff series against the Cardinals. If I remember, I think you slashed a double, or I believe.
Yeah, got a RBI, 2 RBI single to put us on top. That was a fun memory. Dad was there and got to enjoy that with him, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, listen, I was going to tell you about Chapman this year. For some reason, I've got this Major League Baseball where I can watch all the teams play except the Atlanta Braves. I'm blacked out for the Braves, so I get to watch everybody else. So I was watching. The Pirates for some reason play the San Diego Padres one night. I just got in on the last inning or so of it. And it was kind of a close game. Well, Chapman comes in to pitch. I didn't even know he was in Pittsburgh, and because he's kind of gone from team to team. But Manny Machado's up with 2 out, and I think it's I don't know, it's maybe the top of the 10th or something like this, and so it's like got 2 strikes on Manny, and to me, Manny's a fantastic baseball player, and all of a sudden Chapman, I think. He went from like 101, and I'm serious, on this last pitch he threw 104. He couldn't help but smile at Manny, and Manny was just shaking his head, smiling back to him. Like, man, I didn't even see that pitch, But, I mean, the speed of the relief pitchers is just unbelievable. But, okay, well, listen.
At every level, it's almost like, even when I was in high school, senior year, whether it be making that adjustment to go to Meridian, and then Mississippi State and then pro ball. It's like every year these guys seem to get bigger, stronger, faster, throw harder, and once you get to that level, it's hard to. You get these guys. Chapman's probably 6'5", 240. You just don't realize how big a lot of these guys are in their jerseys, and that big of a guy can bring out a lot of power and a lot of strikeouts. So it's just crazy how you don't realize how big they are until you're up there, and then the power comes and all that. So it's a different game. It speeds up on you.
Yeah. Well, listen. Let's reflect a little bit on major leagues right now. So of the teams left, you've got. I think 2 of the better National League teams are the Padres and the Dodgers, and they've got a series. What you think about that series? Have you got any feelings one way or the other? Have you been following those teams?
I think the Dodgers on paper are the better team, but there's always the Padres just came off that emotional win and everything, and they're kind of fired up. So that momentum in baseball, it doesn't matter how good your team is on paper. If your guys come out and hit and they get on top of somebody, it's hard to stop them. I know you know that as well as I do. It's just it doesn't matter how good the Dodgers look. If the Padres are hitting good, watch out.
Well, now American League, I'm a little bit, in the dark basically. I mean, you've got the Yankees who, they've played in spurts pretty good, but they seem to, their bullpen at times has. Kind of been a sore subject with them a little bit. I know you go through times like that during the season, but they're playing the Kansas City Royals. Now, the Royals finished last year. How can you go from last to first? I say last to first, but last to be one of the Final Four. And I know they've got some Mississippi boys on their team too, with the Renfro from Mississippi State, and they got Stratton. Yeah. I think he's from Mississippi State, and they have Adam Frazier, I think, this year too. Now I think he's a Mississippi State guy, right? So they got so they got a lot of Mississippi flavor. But I was watching a little bit the other day against Baltimore. They've got such great relief pitching. They just bring them out there 7th, 8th, 9th, boom, boom, boom. It's kind of like
that's a huge key.
Yeah.
But the Yankees are going to be tough. I like old Aaron Boone over there too. It's hard to pull. I just want good games at this point. I just want. Down to the wire, 9th inning games, and that's what makes it so special. I don't want any blowouts.
I got you. All right. Marshall, you got any questions for Mr. Tyler
Well,
Moore?
I go to one of my standard ones, and we'll get you twisted on this. The advice you would give young players who are endeavoring to make it to the next level out of high school, these youngsters, what if you had one bit of advice you could tell them, what would you give them, Tyler?
Man, that's a tough one. I got so many things. If it's just baseball related, I would just say, the biggest thing for me is be a competitor out there before anything else. Don't worry too much about mechanics and all that stuff. All that stuff will come. I would just have the mentality to go out there and compete and try to beat somebody and help your team win. It's not all about you. It's about the team and winning, and being competitive like that gets you out of your own head. So if you're in a slump or whatever, it's okay to be uncomfortable, but at the same time, go out there and do all you can to help the team win in a competitive manner.
That's outstanding. Listen, I hate to tell you this, we're going to have to close on that one, and that's a good one to close on, man. We've really enjoyed you, and thank you for being with us. Going to ask you to hold on just a minute. We're going to take a break, and then Dale and I will be back with tonight's final segment. We'll see you after this commercial break.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome back, everybody. I tell you what, he was a pleasure to talk to. What a fine young man, sounds like.
Oh yeah. He's still in his early 30s, and he was quite a baseball player. And not many of them from Mississippi get to say they played Major League Baseball, even for one game. But he got to play it for several years.
Yes, he did. Well, we enjoyed him being
here. I tell you what, he made a heck of a journey, but between the minor leagues and finally getting to the major leagues. That's a journey in itself. You get a lot of, negativity in it is the best way to describe it. Some are going to have to send you down, some are going to have to send you up. Oh, we've got to send you down, got to send you up. You're almost like a yo-yo,
Yeah.
So I'm glad he got to play, as they say, have the experience of playing Major League Baseball.
Yes, sir. Dale, I've come to a conclusion after this past weekend, and I have come to the conclusion that I know absolutely nothing about football. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at how the top 25 fared this past weekend, and you don't have to go far to go, I know nothing about football, because I actually thought Alabama might have beat Vanderbilt.
Well, I don't think there was too many people outside of Nashville that I think they all shared your same opinion. There was just a small group of about 100 there over at Vanderbilt University that thought that they could do this.
Man.
And so, really, listen, I kind of pull for Alabama a lot, except when they play a lot of the Mississippi teams.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something, okay? It was fun to see Vanderbilt win because they struggle all the time. They're behind the 8 ball. We discussed a couple of weeks ago who might be the worst team in the SEC.
Yeah.
I know now it's
Alabama.
not Vanderbilt. I know it's not Vanderbilt. That's all I know as of today.
That's right.
Hey.
That's right. I mean, I never would have seen that coming. But anyway, that is what it is, and the mighty have fallen, as they often do.
I have, but I've never seen an Alabama defense get pushed around like that. I don't care if Bear Bryant was there or Gene Stallings or ever who it was. I've never seen an Alabama defense get pushed physically around like Vanderbilt did Saturday. I mean, they did. They just seemed like they wanted to play, and Alabama well, now wait a minute, this is supposed to be an off week. We're supposed to let our reserves play today.
Yeah. Welcome to the SEC, Coach DeBoer.
Vanderbilt did the same thing. They played keep away.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They had kept the ball for like 40 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
So
great effort. Great effort. That's one for remember. I tell you what, just when I thought it was safe to go back in the water after seeing that one, Tennessee gets beat by Arkansas. I didn't see that one coming either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was a great defensive game in itself. But it's just just college football. I watched a little bit of the end of Washington beat Michigan. Will Rogers was playing.
Yeah.
And they, of course, we had the Missouri never had a chance against A&M. So I guess Missouri may have been a little overrated. I'm not sure about that. And then USC getting beat. By just an average Minnesota team was surprising. But I think, and plus a lot of people probably didn't get the information about this game because it was played such Saturday night.
Yeah.
But Miami had scored 25 points in the last quarter to beat California like 39-38.
Yeah.
Miami's like number 7 or 8.
Yeah.
So all these top 25 teams, college football's kind of evening out now with this transfer portal.
Man.
And it's getting, people fuss about it, but it's kind of even college football up,
Yeah, it has. And I think you and I both talked about this thing got started early. The parity, it seems to, even last year, as they distributed these players that instead of sitting on the benches, they get them on the field. And it makes a difference. It's made a difference. And, the rich are going to stay rich, but it does help some of the less fortunates along the way, too. So that's a good deal. Hey, Dale, you know what? We're having such fun. We're out of time. So
we out of time already?
Time flies when you're having fun, man. But I want to tell you tell everybody that you can follow us on Facebook at the Brouhaha, and all of our shows are cataloged for you, so you can listen to them on demand at our YouTube channel, the Brouhaha. But it's coming to that time of the show where it's time to say goodbye, Dale.
Goodbye, Dale.
Dale and I'll see you next week for more of the Brouhaha. Get us out of here, Jamie.
You've been listening to the Brouhaha with Dale McKee and Marshall Wood. Heard Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. on WABO. For more of the Brouhaha, follow us during the week on Facebook and WABO.